So on our agenda today, we're going to cover what reputation management is, how you can get started. So I know there's a couple of people in the room who are at that level. There's some funny stuff in here, like how not to respond to negative reviews. I have had a blast creating this deck over the last little while, and it has been hilarious to see, and sad at the same time, to see how people think they can behave online and get away with it. Best practices for responding to reviews, from negative to positive, right? We really want to be interacting with our clientele. Some tools that can help you get it done, and why this is all worth it. So let's get started with reputation management overview. And I'm going to start with a very, seriously, a nightmare story. And I'm going to use another quick deck for this because I didn't make this, but I think it's an awesome story. So this story is called United Airlines versus a guitar. All right. And in March 2008, this musician, Dave Carroll, he got on a United Airlines flight. He checked in his $3,500 guitar, and he witnessed baggage handlers really being rough with his luggage, and his guitar was broken. And so this was, it's not the end of the world. It is a $3,500 guitar. I'm sure he was upset, but he wanted United Airlines to reimburse him, $1,200 reimbursement. He wasn't even asking for the new price of it. United Airlines refuses and says that they need, that they process his claim more than 24 hours after the flight. So that was that. There was this protocol in place, and no, we're giving you $1,200. And Dave Carroll is really frustrated here, and he says that he'll accept flight vouchers instead of cash for empty seats on planes already. And United Airlines basically was like drawing a line in the sand, saying we're not going to be paying for people's broken luggage. This is 2008, so we're at the very beginning of social media and reputation management. This is a huge mistake, is what we're going to find out. So Dave Carroll spends 9 months trying to reach an agreement with United, and he calls and emails them, and he decides the only way to deal with this is to go public. And he writes a song about this experience, and you can listen to it. And in this deck, you'll get a copy of this deck, so you can click that link and watch the song. Ha ha ha, it's not that big a deal, right? United Airlines, this no-name musician writes this song, and the song is called United Breaks the Guitar, which is bad PR already, but it goes viral. It has 150,000 views on the first day, because it's probably new at the time that he does this. United Airlines starts to realize it's a massive public relations disaster and says, hey, we'll give you your $1,200 now. And he says, no, I spent 9 months trying to get $1,200. So United Airlines stock price falls 10%. And it caused $180 million in losses to stakeholders. And United Airlines donates $3,500 to music education as a gesture of goodwill, which is obviously not enough, right? So the song sequel, United Breaks Guitar, song 2, it hits, by this time, the first song has exceeded 5 million views. And Time Magazine features United Breaks Guitars on its number seven on its top 10 list of viral videos of the year. Carroll gets interviewed more than 200 times. He releases a third song on YouTube in 2010. This is all within a couple of years. Then he publishes a book called United Breaks Guitars, right? Detailing, what happened, but also, outlining the power that the consumer has now in the age of social media, right? So all those 3 videos now in 2013, I don't know what it is today, have reached more than 16.5 million views. He speaks on customer service issues, and this is a really prime example of how not to engage online. So I love this quote by Warren Buffett. It takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. I want you to think about that, because in the digital age, how you behave in a public forum doesn't go away. So you can have the most stellar reputation and have one customer, a single customer, take down your business. And I know that all of us buy on Amazon, let's say, or we're all trying to shop locally, and we check reviews, but I don't know about you, but I look at 1-star reviews. I see that a reputation is 4 or 5 stars, but I take the time to look at those 1-star reviews because I want to know who I'm really dealing with. And generally speaking, I'll still buy from that company, but if there's something nightmarish in that 1-star rating, I won't buy from that company. So you need to understand that this doesn't take long. If somebody, reviews you negatively because of an experience that they've had, that you need to understand the impact that that can have on your business. All right, back to the deck. So in this age, consumers have the power. You know, before social media, let's say, or even reputation online. I mean, I can't remember how long ago it was we really started giving people 5 stars or something like that. But I'm going to say it's been about a decade, but it's really, really taken off in the last 2 or 3 years. And businesses that understand how important this is have a huge advantage over businesses that don't think this is important. So before, we had, you know, institutions controlled all the information, all the pricing, and all the location information. Customers really had to ask for that information. But now, customers have all the information, all the pricing, and know all the location. And the balance has really shifted. Customers know what they want, but they don't really care where they get it anymore. So they're going to use a number of digital options to figure out and make a choice. And reputation will play very heavily in their decision making. So this is the story how consumers discover you now. You know, let's say a while ago, they might have looked in the yellow pages, which is a really dated example, but they might have Googled on the internet. But this journey has gone a lot deeper than it did, you know, let's say a couple of years ago. So you do your search, and now the maps listings are showing in Google search. So when you do a search on Google, you'll see some ads, and now you're going to see the maps listings, or Google Local it's sometimes called, or those are sometimes what I call Google My Business listings, because all of that information is populated from Google My Business. So that search happens, and they may click on an ad, they may look at these listings, and they may look at what are called organic search results below those listings. But the thing is the only one that shows reputation is the maps. And occasionally, Google has experimented with showing reputation scores throughout search results. They can be leveraged in different ways, but overall, people are looking at this map, and that's a really important change. So they're going to view their local options. You'll notice that the maps function only shows for businesses that are relatively local. Let's say that service a clientele within a 50-kilometer radius of a particular location. So if you search something like, well, I'm trying to think of an example that would be, you know, prefab buildings, you probably won't get the maps result. But if you search something like a dentist or a coffee shop or a restaurant or a flower shop, you're definitely going to get that maps listing. And the reason is Google perceives that, hey, you're a local person looking for a local product or service. They think that's relevant to you. So then they probably take a look at you. They might go to your website. They might use your listing and take a look at the services that you offer. And in this case, the example is tax, like accountants, let's say, right? But the next thing they're going to do, and this is the big change, is they're going to read those reviews. And I think if you were in a room with me today, which was probably the original plan for this presentation, most of you will be nodding. I mean, we have some data that we're going to look at on how many people actually read reviews and how relevant it is. But most of you probably look at reviews now, and that's a big change in the last 2 or 3 years. Then they are going to compare the businesses, right? So they're really going to take a look at you in the right spot. Are your hours okay? What are your ratings and reviews? And do you have photos? They're going to look at the comprehensiveness of this listing, and they're going to make an assessment as to whether or not they're going to call or email you. And when they do that, you better be there. And then they're going to make a decision. Book an appointment, call, they're going to request directions. They're actually going to convert, is what we call that. They're going to book that appointment. They're going to visit your website. They're going to do the next step that you want them to do. But along the way, you need to understand that it all starts here with number 1. So showing up in those search results is really important. Then they're going to make their assessments. They're going to read your reviews. So this number 4 is hugely important. Then they're going to make that decision. And when they do that, as a business, you need to be available to them. Just going to check the chat real quick. Oh.
Okay, we got one question in here.
Yep. Okay, thanks, Tim.
Just one question for now, Kai, which was posted in regards to pseudo names putting up bad reviews. So, you know, some form or version of sabotage of businesses. How can that be managed?
So I'm actually going to give you some strategies later in this presentation that actually address that. There's very short answers to negative stuff. There's not much you can do about that, and it's really frustrating. But there are other strategies. This is a bit like yin and yang. You know, there's positive ways that you can deal with this kind of thing. For starters, you can drown them out with positive reviews. So, you know, of course, we're going to talk a bit more about this later. So I will definitely address this. But does that sound okay, Tim? I'll do it later.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So there's one thing that's really important. So in terms of things that are changing in Google's updates, and I won't spend too much time on this slide, we know that, I'm going to cover the important stuff. We know that review ranking signals are on the rise. So, 10 years ago, Google didn't actually incorporate a business's reputation into whether or not they would show that business in a search result. And a search result, just at its most basic, is called a SERP, search engine results page. When you Google something, page 1 or page 2 are called search engine results pages. And those ranking signals, Google has an algorithm that determines whether or not you'll be shown on that page 1. And that can be called SEO if you're talking about organic search results. But they didn't used to incorporate your reputation into whether or not they would show you. But if you think about it, Google wants people to have a very positive experience on Google as often as possible. And that's the reason why nobody uses Yahoo, or nobody really uses Bing anymore either, or Microsoft Edge. But what's interesting, Edge is a browser. But what's interesting here is in the algorithm, there is very much a component now that they're trying to just showcase businesses that have positive reviews. So if you have a really poor reputation online, it's going to be very difficult for you to show in Google search results, and you will go out of business as a result. Reputation will become more and more important, and we know that these things are happening. The other thing that so Google ranking signals, Google My Business ranking signals are gaining more value. Meaning, if you're going to want to hang around in Google's backyard or in Google's sandbox, you're going to need to play by Google's rules. This is the way it works, right? It's a free service. Everybody uses it. It is pretty amazing as an experience. But Google My Business, in terms of your reputation, is really starting to play an impact on whether or not your website as a whole shows in Google search results, not just your listing, but everything that you have online. So you need to understand the key takeaway from this slide is reputation is not becoming less important. It is becoming considerably more important. So you're going to invest time in marketing. You're going to advertise in print products. You're going to you're on the radio. Maybe you have a website. Maybe you're doing search engine optimization. Maybe you're doing Google ads. But you need to understand that if without reputation, all of those things will probably not be as effective as you're hoping. So what is online reputation at its most basic? It's how you're perceived online by people that are looking at using your product or service. And secondarily, it's how you represent yourself online through your website, through your social media, through any platform that you are online. It's how you represent yourself. And I'm going to read this one. Reputation management is the process by which you monitor how your brand is perceived by consumers, and then taking really tactical or strategic action when it's necessary to control or improve your brand's reputation. Nowadays, reputation management primarily has to do with monitoring and protecting your brand's online reputation on customer review sites, social media, and Google. Now, I will say you don't need to be Coca-Cola to be thinking about this. In fact, I think at a local level, it's way more important than for Coca-Cola, who has a very established brand. At a local level, people are going to decide whether or not they're going to go to your restaurant or your storefront or even your online business, whether it's e-commerce or something like that, based on whether or not they think they can trust you. Why does reputation matter? Here's some data. This is the data I was talking about. It's really, this blows me away. So consumers need to read an average of 10 online reviews before they feel they can trust a business. You need to ask yourself right now, do I even have 10 reviews? And if you don't, you need to make a change. So I'm just going to delve into that a little bit more. Have you ever looked at a Maps result or a Google My Business result, and the 3 Maps listings show up? There will be 3 dental offices, let's say, and one has a 5-star rating with 6 reviews, and one has a 4.7 star rating with 82 reviews, and one has a 2-star rating with 22 reviews. Now, we all know we're going to eliminate the 2-star rated business. We will not call or email that business, guaranteed. But between the one that has 6 reviews and a perfect rating and the one that has 4.7 rating, which is very respectable, but has 88 reviews, I think the great majority of us would call the business with the most reviews. So you cannot only assess your review rating by its actual rating, meaning am I 4.5 stars or more, right? If you don't have a credible amount of reviews, people will also not choose your business. 22% of businesses business can risk losing up to 22% of their customers when users find just one negative article about a company. All right, let's step back from this. I want you to think about your gross revenue for 2019, and then I want you to subtract 22%. Let's say you did $400,000 in 2019, and you just lost $100,000 of that approximately, because somebody had a negative experience with your company. This is really, really vital that you understand how important it is that each customer is very valuable to you. And it's not because of the gross revenue they're going to provide your business, it's because they're in control. And as frustrating as that is, they can ruin you, or they can certainly make your next year less profitable. So 86% of consumers read reviews for local businesses. And another big takeaway here is 95% of people aged 18 to 34 read reviews. So that's basically everybody. And over the course of the next 10 years, everyone, for the sake of argument, will be reading reviews before they purchase from a business. So if you don't think this is important to start thinking about this now, it's a problem for your business. Remember, everybody's just getting older. That's a fact of life. So the younger generation with the most buying power, as they come up and start making major purchase decisions in their life, right? The coffee shop you choose when you're 32 might be the coffee shop you go to when you're 52, right? So don't just think it's for cars and houses, it's for everything. And think about the customer lifetime value of earning that business and then having that client for 20 years, right? So there's all kinds of people who are establishing patterns and developing purchasing habits that are coming up who have the most capital or the most expendable capital. Those people are worth thinking about because they are more and more using reviews to establish whether or not they're going to buy from you. And 57% of consumers will only use a business if it has 4 or more stars. So let's be clear, 3.9 is not acceptable. 3.8 is not acceptable. Anything less than that is not acceptable to 57% of your potential customers. It's a big deal. So you need to be 4.0 or more to earn fit. So like I said, that's almost 6 in 10 people won't use your business if your rating is less than 4 stars. I hope I'm making a case here that this is worth doing. 80% of 18 to 34-year-olds have written an online review, compared to 41% of consumers over 55. Again, we're just getting older. More and more people will review businesses more often. In fact, many of these people perceive it that it's their responsibility to endorse a business that has provided a great product or service. And it's also their responsibility to let the world know about businesses that don't do that. 57% of I think I made a mistake there in cutting and pasting. So 91% of 18 to 34-year-old consumers trust online reviews as much as personal recommendations. What I'm saying here is word of mouth is really, really important, right? What people talk about and how they share information about your business is always going to be really, really vital. Referrals will always be your best source of high converting leads. The problem is now, it's not even a problem, I think it's actually an opportunity. The problem, that opportunity, is that people perceive that those reviews are just as trustworthy as that individual recommendation. In fact, in my opinion, it's probably more trustworthy because it eliminates bias over time. If you have 50 reviews, it's much more trustworthy than an individual telling you something is great. 89% of consumers read businesses' responses to reviews. So that's 9 in 10 people are going to read your response, and we're going to talk about what that looks like. And I'm going to give you examples of how to do that too. All right, we're going to jump on to how to get started with reputation management. I'm going to quickly take a look. Yeah, right. This becomes the basis of destroying a business. There has to be a solution, and I agree with you. Can we address if reviews ever fall off Google or business, or why they don't show up? We have used to have a couple of reviews and now they're no longer there. I can quickly address that. People are allowed to remove their review or change their review. So let's say they've really enjoyed your business, they endorse you, and then one day they have a bad experience. They can go back in and edit that review and either delete it or reduce it. They can change the star rating, and as well, they can also edit the copy of their review. So that those reviews are an evolution. There is no set it and forget it solution here. You don't get 50 reviews and then stop thinking about it, because 49 of those people could easily remove those reviews and you're back down to 1. It's highly unlikely, but you want to be watching that. The other thing that's really important here is, these reviews are terrifying for business owners, again, because you've lost control of the reputation of your business. And I get how frustrating that is, but it is a reality. But I also think that when somebody gives you a negative review, it's an opportunity to improve your business. And, customers can be challenging at times, and I really understand that, but their perception is a fair one. And if they are giving you negative feedback, I would try and perceive that as best you can as an opportunity to improve your business.
Michelle's just quickly, Michelle's just followed up there. She doesn't believe that the clients removed their own reviews. So could it be a date stamping issue here at all? Like, in your experience, reviews don't just drop away.
So I'm gonna encompass all of this by saying that Google is actually not perfect. So if we're talking about a Google My Business review, I think also Facebook is not perfect. These companies do make mistakes, and things aren't always the way that we would like them to be. Unfortunately, I don't have a specific answer for how that happened. And again, there could be any number of rationales for that. Your clients are telling you they left the review, but to your face, they would be uncomfortable telling you they took it down. There's all kinds of possibilities here. And I'm not saying that's the case, but I'm just trying to give you an example of one. But I'm also going to say, and I think probably all the businesses that are attending today would agree with me, that Google can be somewhat unpredictable. The platforms change over time. It's difficult to follow along. And I will also say, for an example, like during this COVID crisis, for instance, Google has stopped posting reviews because they've really wanted their teams to focus on making sure business listing hours are up to date. So those reviews that you're getting right now aren't being posted, or maybe they're being posted and taken down. I don't really have any understanding of why that would happen, but I want to say that this is an unpredictable landscape. I think that's the really short answer. So again, I'm going to get back to creating a methodology for monitoring and understanding how you're performing online is really, really vital. And it's frustrating that you have to spend time on this, but it is, I think, a core component of your future business success. It's just not going to go away. Let me see if that, I hope that was helpful, Michelle. I appreciate the question. So step 1, protect your listing accuracy and presence. So claim all of your listings, whether you're going to use them or not. Some of these listing services obviously come with the ability to post socially or engage socially. But I would say for your business, start with Google My Business, Facebook, Bing also has a listing service, Apple Maps, Yelp, and TripAdvisor, in particular, obviously, if you're in the tourism industry. But those are great places to start. There are listing services, and I'm going to provide you with a slide of the top 35 in Canada. I would go and claim them. You can expect to take 15 minutes per listing to build it and claim it. And I would do it all at once because this is nightmarishly boring work, but I would do it. And I would start with these 6 here. So I will also say 76% of reviews are now on Google or Facebook. So either Google My Business or your Facebook page, your Facebook business page. And this means that if you're going to spend time anywhere, spend it on those 2 platforms, right? We're all time constrained. Often small businesses wear an incredible amount of hats. So I'm going to try and help you be efficient with this. I would never recommend that you ever do everything all the time because it's impossible and it will fall apart on you. I also want to really emphasize this. Update all NAP, I don't even know if that's not even it's not an acronym, it's not a word, but it means name, address, phone number, website hours, and description. And what in my business at Canopy Media, we call it a citation building exercise. So a citation is the idea that you can build a listing for your business online. And you can do that on as many platforms as you possibly have the time for, or as you're comfortable doing. And it is a good exercise because it really improves the size of your digital footprint online, and Google recognizes you to be more and more legitimate. Just gonna check the next slide. Okay. What I need to say and really need to emphasize is you should create one name for your business, one address, one phone number, one website, one set of hours, and one description. And they should be exactly the same on every single platform. So we have a client, their name is Markham Mower, but in the past, they've had other people do citation building for them, and often their business is called Markham Mowers with an S. That is not the same name, according to Google. All right, so I need to be really clear. If you're gonna use Inc. period on one business listing and then Inc. without a period on another business listing, that is not the same. So it should be a cut and paste exercise. If your business name is gonna be Good Grief Coffee, I'm a big fan of Good Grief. I really enjoy talking to Jesse down there. If your business name is gonna be Good Grief Coffee, then that's what it should be on everything. Not Good Grief some places and Good Grief Coffee somewhere else. Same goes for your address. If it's going to be street, S-T-R-E-E-T versus S-T period, those are two different things. I'm telling you, create one set of business information and make sure it is exactly the same across all platforms. Description, I would prefer just some consistency there too. Some platforms have different limitations on character count or word count. So you might need to make some modifications there, but do not waste time or do not skip over this step. Create a very good business description. You know, 3 or 4 sentences that really describe what you do, who you do it for, where you do it, and what to do next. Okay, so what you do, where you do it, who you do it for, and what to do next. And by what to do next, it's usually call or email us or come to the store and we'll give you a coupon or whatever it is during COVID. But be really clear to cover those things and then make sure that's consistent across all of your listings. All right. Here, I'll send you this deck. Here's Canada's top 35 local business listing directories. You probably only heard of about 20% of these if you're lucky. There are tons of these. I do recommend doing 15 or 20 of these, right? I will send you this. You don't have to take a screenshot or anything. Okay. How to get started. Step 1, protect listing accuracy and presence. So you have photos on your listing, make sure they're great. Okay. If you have to, and if you have the budget for this, use a professional photographer to create an awesome bank of good photos. I cannot tell you the number of businesses that skip this. They invest heavily in an ad in a magazine, but they don't invest heavily in an awesome photo for that ad, right? My suggestion is if you're gonna run a quarter-page ad in a magazine for $800, skip a month and create an awesome bank of photos for your business that you can use on all your business listings, that you can use in your social media, you can use them on your website. There's so many ways that you can leverage this. But photos matter. If you have a horrible photo of a cinnamon roll and a great photo of a cinnamon roll, that makes all the difference if people are looking for cinnamon rolls. If you have a horrible photo of your landscaping work and an awesome photo of a beautiful property, that will be the difference between whether or not people call you. So I have lists of photographers that are local in this area and throughout North America that I can help you use. I want to be clear, there's no kickbacks, there's nothing. I just love the idea that people create good photos for their business. You should pay somewhere between $250 at the low end for a morning or $500 for the day. At the high end, $1,000 if you get an amazing photographer with an awesome portfolio. These are all fair prices, okay? I will say that photographer should give you the originals of the photos that they shoot, and they should give you all of them because they belong to you. Make a file, call it originals, and never edit those photos, only make copies of them. All right, Use all available options. If they give you the menu option or a booking option or reservations or messaging, fill out the listing in as much detail as you possibly can. The reason I say this is listing services are more likely to show you if your listing is really complete. Encourage prospects to take action in your listing. Don't give them a chance to leave. So if there's a messaging function or a reservation function, you want to take advantage of that. So enable all of that. If it costs you a few $100s a year to activate those types of options, I would do it. I would really do it. Okay, listing management is not one and done. Okay, there's over 20 points of data on your listings that are corruptible. A good example would be Q&A sections are flooded with misinformation from your clients, right? So you need to stay on top of that. Competitors can sometimes edit your listings. I can go into any of your business listings and make a suggestion that you're closed permanently. And if Google decides that my recommendation is a good one, they'll shut down your business listing. So you need to be on top of this, be very in control, and understand that these things can change. So these data aggregators, for example, there's about 16 of them in North America that sell and buy our data at a very in a very lucrative way, actually. But they know a ton of information on us, and they're constantly updating their listings. So when these things get corrupted, and then they sell that data, and it gets all over the place. So you have to understand that this is something I would recommend at least spending a half an hour to an hour per week on, whether it's like monitoring that your listings are okay, or it's responding to your reviews or something, right? So I would just put that in your calendar as a recurring event. Thursdays at 2 to 3 p.m., 1 hour spent on managing your reputation online. Google is gamifying user contributions to your listing. So they're really encouraging people to submit. I don't know if anybody who's ever left a review has asked to be a local guide or something, but local guide, it's gamified and it's ridiculous. You get, $15 a year in products or services like hard drive space or something if you do a ton of work. But so there's a lot of people who are incentivized to provide that feedback. I want you to understand that these listings are corruptible. You need to monitor them. Step 2, respond to all reviews. Okay, get a process for responding to reviews, whether it's notification that comes to you when somebody leaves one. Make sure you check them weekly. Like I said, add a recurring calendar event. Assign this to a team member within your organization, but make sure it's either delegated or you're doing it yourself, that you respond to reviews. It shows your customers that you care about how they feel about you, and I mean all reviews, negative and positive, and reduce your churn. So you can take a potential detractor, somebody who leaves a negative review, and do right by them and turn them into a raving fan or a promoter. And I have an example of this. I hope you guys can see this. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. But this is an example of a really nasty review that somebody left. Very young staff at an A&W outlet. Very young staff, they like to close 15 minutes early a lot. I waited all week for my Wednesday special, but they wanted to get off early, I guess, 3 unhappy faces and a 1-star review. So this is, obviously this organization has a very clear methodology for managing review. Sorry, Jonathan, we'll review this with our staff. Exactly what time are you there? I'll check the cameras and have video when I speak to them. Let me know at whatever that rutiden@gmail.com along with his address, so on and so forth. So what happens is Jonathan is really blown away by this. They're going to check the cameras, right? This is a detractor. Remember, this A&W now lost 22% of their business because they had 1 negative review. Jonathan turns this into a 5-star review, so it's the same thing, but really blown away by the professionalism and quick response. Owner replied right away. Today, a man came to my house and personally delivered a complimentary meal. Very impressed by keeping your word. A lot of other restaurants could learn a thing or two from A&W. That went from 1-star to 5-star, and awesome PR. So responding to that negative review can have a positive impact too. So responding to all reviews, 78% of customers feel if a business responds to a review, they care. 67% of customers who receive a response to a negative feedback will either update or remove their review. So for the questions we had around negative reviews, 1 stars, if somebody's just being particularly malicious, there's nothing you can do about that. Let's say they're your neighbor and you built a fence and you made them angry. They give you a 1-star review. Nothing you can do about that. But 7 out of 10 times when somebody gives you a really nasty review, They'll either update it or remove it if you respond to it and deal with it professionally. And I'm going to show you how to do that in a couple minutes. 15% not responding to reviews can increase customer churn by 15%. So people leaving you is customer churn. They churn, they go somewhere else. So you're talking about 15% of your business. It's worth it, right? Take your gross revenue in 2019, multiply it by 0.15, and that's the volume of business you're losing if you're not responding to reviews. 53% of customers expect business to respond to their reviews within 7 days, but I am going to ask you to be much more responsive than that. And that's why we set up notifications. Step 3, engage with consumers on social media. Don't forget these channels. Often your prospects are more comfortable on social media than interacting via your Facebook, via your website. Be where your prospects are. Great examples of this are Facebook and Instagram. Twitter, it depends on your business, right? TikTok, I'm not really sure about. It's new and I don't really know that much about it. But the point here is they're there. You should be there too. I'm going to quickly actually elaborate on that. In terms of social media, I understand its role in marketing, and I think it's really important. Again, I would probably make it, if you find it a struggle to actually get to that, make it a part of your weekly recurring marketing event in your calendar. Set it up for an hour to manage reviews and post on social media. At least be there and check. All right.
Hi, there are a couple of questions. I think it might make sense to maybe target these now. There's a question about, do you respond to very old reviews? So reviews that are perhaps 6 months or older?
Yes, it does. Sorry, you should respond to very old reviews. It makes a difference. And I'll just explain why. There's a couple of rationale for this. Number one, I'm going to start with another story. Imagine I come to your home for dinner. I bring my children, my wife comes, it's an amazing time. We have a wonderful time. Your children are amazing as well. The food is excellent. And I say all of these things to you. Walking out the door, I say, you know what? It's been so awesome being here. The meal you prepared was incredible. Your children are absolutely wonderful. I love how our kids get along. And you look at me and don't say anything. That would be really awkward if I gave you all that amazing feedback and you don't say anything. So if you've dropped the ball and you haven't responded to old 5-star reviews, you should go back and say something along the lines. And I've written copy for this for clients where it's just like, hey, you can just reach back out and you say, listen, we're just learning about, managing reviews, and I really appreciate this review, even though it's from 6 months ago. I'm sorry I dropped the ball here, but thank you so much. I'm looking forward to seeing you at the store, right? That's at least better than just looking at this person, who gives you this amazing 5-star feedback, or 1-star for that matter, and you don't even respond to them. So that's my feeling on that. Yeah. The second reason you should do that, does that make sense, Tim?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. The second reason you should do that is Google is tracking. So when somebody leaves a review, Google tracks how long it takes you to respond to it. Now, unfortunately, if you never respond, that's way worse than responding 6 months later. Why do you think Google would track how fast you respond to a review, or Facebook? Because we're busy trying to showcase businesses that are amazing. And businesses that are amazing are responsive. Businesses that are horrible don't answer the phone, take a week to get back to you, never respond to your email, or if they do, it takes them forever. Google doesn't want businesses like that to be successful. And frankly, most consumers don't either. So Google measures that. So when somebody sends you a review, I'm highly recommending that you take the 2.5 minutes, if you can, to respond to them within an hour or within a day would be great. That would make you better than your competitors. And if you're better than your competitors, all of a sudden you start showing in Google Maps results and your competitors don't. Remember, there's only 3 spots on the first page of Google for businesses. How do you think those people are getting there? They have an awesome, fully listed, fully filled out profile with amazing photos. They have awesome reviews, and they respond to those reviews in a super timely fashion. And they pick up the phone. And when you do those things, Google's like, hey, this business is amazing. We're going to showcase them. We're not going to showcase that business that doesn't respond to reviews, that rarely picks up the phone. Like when you click to call on that Google listing, you're going through a Google service. Google knows if you're answering the phone. Make sense? Does that make sense, Tim?
I believe so, yeah. There's another question here. Does the same hold true for Amazon reviews? Isn't it harder to reply to those?
So I've told you at the beginning that if I don't know the answer, I'll tell you that. I'm not sure.
That's great. Okay.
I can look that up. So I'll write it down.
And maybe we can get back to the questioner on that one.
How about old negative reviews from a previous owner? That's another great question. The business that you purchased, when you bought it, you also bought their reputation. So now it's your job to improve that reputation online. Now, when those old negative reviews are there and they're unresponded to, I think you have a tremendous opportunity. Can we please post the questions on the chat line? Yeah, I also want you to know that this entire webinar chat will be sent to you after as well. So the link to the video of this webinar and the actual chat window, it'll all be there. So old negative reviews from a previous owner, I think you have an opportunity because you had an engaged client who took the time. I'm going to position this really positively. They took the time to give you feedback, right? And although it may have seemed malicious or they were just angry and they wanted to get it off their chest, you have this opportunity to now reach out to them. And I would say to them, hey, I'm so sorry you had this experience. I want you to know that in 2018, we purchased the business. And these are the 3 things that we've done to remedy the situation. We'd love to see it in our store. In fact, why don't you give me a call and I'll send you a coupon for 25% off for whatever it is that you can look at, right? So I would reach out. You will, that negative review will go from 1 star to 5 star, like we saw with A&W. And B, they'll come back and spend money with you. So I would go through all of those old negative reviews, and I wouldn't say cut and paste your response, but modify your response to reflect their, what their review was about and how you've remedied the situation, and incentivize them to come back into the store. And if you work at your store or you work at your business and you are a CEO or an owner, but you can be frontline for them, nobody loves it more than when the owner of a business deals with them personally. And I think we all can agree with that. I would take the time to earn their business, and here's why. We talked a little bit of customer lifetime value. Your customers spend $500 a year with you if you're a coffee shop. I personally spend about $2,000 a year at Gibson's. I can't believe I said that out loud. Gibson's isn't calling, but if Gibson's made me angry or frustrated me, or I got a sandwich that made me sick, I would stop going there, and I would stop going there for the next 10 years. I spend an average of $2,000 a year at Gibson's, so that's a $20,000 loss, losing me. So for Gibson's to take the time to remedy the situation absolutely benefits them, right? And the same goes for you.
That comment links quite well to a question that we just passed over in the chat there, not intentionally, I would add, and that is like, for small businesses, it can be challenging economically dealing with irate customers. So, how important is it to deal with that in terms of your priorities relative to your daily tasks?
Great. So I think what we're talking about is this one, going overboard with compensating.
Yeah.
Can you okay.
So the question reads, the difficulty I see with going overboard in compensating an irate reviewer is that it's not economically feasible for a small business. Might be okay for the largest of, A&Ws, etc. Your thoughts, please.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for that question. I'm going to respond by saying, for a small business, here's how valuable it is. It may not be economically feasible, but I'm a mathematician. I love metrics and data. That's how I run my marketing. We got some creative stuff, but overall, it's about the metrics. So the metrics are, how much is a customer worth to you, right? You may have a recurring business model. Let's say, for example, a dentist office. So they're worth a considerable amount. I know a checkup is, you know, $150 or whatever it is, but that $150 happens twice a year, it's $300, and then you typically stay with a dentist for 10 years. So that customer is worth $3,000. So for that dentist, and you're going to do some math right now too, I hope, like write it down. What's your customer worth? How much do they spend with you? How many times? And for how many years? So customer lifetime value equals what our customer spends with you times times, you know, value per year, let's say. So sometimes they only spend with you once, but maybe you're a landscaping company, it's a $30,000 job, times the value per year, times the number of years they typically stay with you. So if you're a small business and your customer spends an average of $500 a year for 5 years, the value of that customer is all of a sudden $5,000. Somebody snowplows my laneway. The deal is, if they beat me to it, I'll pay them to do it, right? And I spend actually $1,000 a year on laneway clearing. But if that person makes me angry, I was likely going to use them for 20 years. So $1,000 a year, right? Times 20 years, $20,000. That is correct, by the way. So you need, so it's to answer the A&W question, you know, A&W recognizes that each customer to them is probably worth about $5,000 over the course of their lifetime. So they do the work to make it worth it. If your customer lifetime value is $7, it might not be worth it, right? But I'm going to guess that if you have a business, your customers aren't worth $7. If your customers are worth $7, I hope you have a ton of them, right? So in my opinion, in short, it is economically feasible for a small business to do this, to make time for this, because my guess is very few of you have a customer lifetime value that is less than $2,000. So now imagine it's going to take you a half an hour to earn their business back, but you're going to earn $2,000 in gross revenue for doing that. And that is worth it. And then on top of that, getting that negative review changed increases your gross revenue again, because remember, one-star review that hangs around impacts your business 22%. So the value of doing it, it's almost, you can't afford not to do it in a community that, let's say, has 50,000 people within a 20-kilometer radius, right? We can't afford in Collingwood, there isn't an extra population of 1 million people next door, right? In Collingwood, you can't afford to have a bad reputation. This is by definition a small town. So I don't think, you know, again, it's a pain, and I appreciate that it's painful and annoying to have to deal with this, but it's worth it. So again, I'm going to come at it from a business perspective. Gross revenue wise, it's worth it for small businesses to do this.
Okay, I'm just going to mention, if anybody doesn't have the chat open, that's where you put the calculation for customer lifetime value. So just open the chat. You can see some of the comments and questions and that calculation that you plugged in there.
So I'm just showing you how to find the chat. If you hover anywhere around your screen, this menu will happen. Okay, and then under more, in my case, there's the chat there, and you can open that window.
We don't see that on your screen share, Kai.
Ah, okay, yeah. Thanks, Tim.
Okay.
So right now we are looking at social media users by platform. And I think you can see the whole slide, which is great. So, you know, people often wonder about social media. I see social media's value from a reputation management perspective, absolutely. And here's why. You know, there's 2.3 billion people that use Facebook, 2 billion that use YouTube, right? WhatsApp is at 1.6 billion, Facebook Messenger, which is massive, 1.3 billion. Instagram is 1 billion, right? You know, and even locally, these platforms, the short statement here is, I think you should be on social media, even though it's going to take you some time. If you can't get on social media, find somebody to do it for you. at a minimal amount, you know, like even posting once a week or twice a week. All right, step 3, engage with those consumers on social media. 42% of customers expect a response on social media within the hour. That may be unrealistic for a small business, but they do reach out to you on social media. So make it part of that at least weekly check-in. I know when we manage social media for clients, we check every day. You know, we'll spend some time looking at all of the platforms for all of our clients just to make sure we're not missing anything important. 54% of social media users use social media to research products. I'm not one of them, but there are lots of people that do. 21% of consumers would rather message a brand on social media than call customer service. I know, you know, Julie presented for Canopy Media's last online webinar, and she really stated that, you know, at Blue Mountain, for instance, you know, people used social media to find out when they were open. Like they would message on Facebook and say, what are your hours today? Right? So Blue Mountain has a prerogative, or they need to make it a priority to have somebody monitoring all that stuff. So 21% of consumers are more likely to buy from brands they can reach on social media. Again, I'm not one of these people, but lots of people are. So again, you need to determine how it is that you're willing to meet your prospects online and what you're willing to do to earn their business. Step 4, focus on being great, providing an exceptional in-store experience or online experience or whatever, right? So discover opportunities to improve through reviews and surveys, monitor in-store changes for multiple locations, reward stores for positive net promoter scores. So I don't know if there's anybody here who has multiple locations. If you do, you want to be calculating net promoter score. And I'm telling you, it's really easy to do. You email your entire customer list for that location and you say, on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being horrible and 10 being incredible, how likely are you to recommend our products or services to a friend or an associate? This is literally the question that people ask to calculate NPS or Net Promoter Score. The reason you want to know this is because anybody that gives you an 8 or more is likely to be a raving fan, meaning they will give you referrals. And referrals are the lifeblood of any business. The other thing that's really valuable here is if they give you a low score, or if your average is below 8, you need to make some improvements in your business, because your business is built on being amazing. And if your score is below 8, you aren't amazing, which means you won't grow, which means you won't capitalize on the size of the market, which you won't retain, means you won't retain more market share. You have to be great. That's a really tough message to deliver. If you're not good enough, you won't win. Reward team members for positive reviews. So, you know, for a lot of the dental practices that we work with, you know, admin staff are rewarded, A, for asking, and B, for getting positive reviews. But I'll tell you, step 4 should be slide number 1 in this deck. Just be amazing. I know it sounds so generic and so obvious, but you have to be great to win. That's just the bottom line. There's not enough people around here to not do that. So we're going to do an activity live, but I think it's worth it to take some time to search for a product in a community that's not around here. You know, Barrie or Owen Sound would be fine. Look at the things. Which business would you choose to go to and why, or which business would you choose not to go to and why? You know, imagine you're buying a new SUV from a local dealer, or taking your family for dinner, or enjoying a free Saturday afternoon where you want something to do. The reason this exercise is worth it is you're going to see what's awesome and what's not, and then you're going to emulate what's amazing, right? So do the exercise, find people that are doing an incredible job of this, and then just emulate. You don't have to be original here, all right? Marketing is sometimes about originality, but overall, it's about emulation. You emulate the things that work. Maybe add your own spin on things a little bit, but overall, there's people that have paved this road for you that are doing an amazing job. Emulate them. You don't have to know everything. You just have to know where to look. Okay. I'm going to quickly check the chat here. So somebody said Clinton was happy face-to-face, but he emailed negatively hours later. I did a follow-up and offered the client several solutions he took. I still received a bad review for our client. Okay. Suggestion on reply is he won't be changing the review. We're going to get to how to deal with negative reviews in about 5 minutes, I would say. Because there's definitely strategies you can do. These are not them. How not to respond to negative reviews is what we're going to do. So this is a slow hand barbecue. I purposely picked people that weren't around here. But this, Kiki Slat said, well, I must say this as an avid barbecue enthusiast, this has got to be the worst barbecue joint I've ever tasted. The macaroni and cheese was absolutely disgusting. It had no flavor whatsoever. Tasted like sawdust, the barbecue baked beans, blah, blah, blah. Response from the owner is, you're an idiot. What a moron. So here's why this is really important. When I sort by, and you can do this in Google My Business, I sort by 1-star reviews. I find this, right? Now this business has a 4.3 star rating and 455 reviews, which in most cases, this is good enough. But for people who sort by 1 star, I would never go to this business, even though they're rated positively. That's why you got to deal with these, right? Unbelievable. Running horse, ranch, and home. All right, so somebody's been in a few times. Each vision is about the same. They have decent stock, but when I get up to the register and check it out, it all goes downhill. No friendliness, offer to help, or even a thank you. One time the checkout guy was clearly drunk. Oh yeah, you got to be exceptional, and that includes not being drunk at the till, right? Response from the owner, gosh, Sarah Balanis, she puts her, lists it as SB, and the response lists her name. So you have the right place. When you were in store on Wednesday, Sam and May didn't notice anything was amiss, seemed like your usual self. Ends it with, whatever's going on in your life, I hope it gets better soon. Don't do this, okay? No matter how emotional you feel about this review, you don't get to display those emotions online if you want to be in business. Again, if I saw this 4-star rating, I'd consider going there. If I read this 1-star response, I would absolutely not go to this place. Phone with negative reviews, 3.7, right? I was looking for a rental home in Opulent, had a house listed online, but they never returned my calls. I went to the office 3 times, and they have an office in Phoenix, and every time I went, they had a sign on the door, but they were out of the office. Looks like no one is ever here. So again, you got to be a great business, or people are going to call you out on it. Dear fake reviewer, it is abundantly clear that you're creating numerous false Google accounts to attack our Google page for whatever reason. Fortunately, the matter has been turned over to legal and Google corporate, and they will be tracked right back to you. First of all, there's nothing you can do here. Google doesn't do that. It's not true. And threatening a lawsuit is not a way to deal with a negative review. All right, finally, Unbelievable, which is, I think, a brew pub. We came into Austin City Limits Music Festival. When I got my ID, I was trying to make small talk and be enjoyable, explain where they are from, that we were excited to be in Austin. I've never met a bouncer with a more terrible attitude. I was so turned off by his tone, demeanor, and the disrespect with which I was treated, so I had to continue on to many of the other bars and so on and so forth. This bar gets a better bouncer. I might leave a better review, but I can't tell you because I didn't go in due to this guy's terrible attitude. Response to the owner, let's see who cares about this review. I guarantee it is an unbar. Learn how to speak and spell moron. I would never go to this place. Also, you definitely don't want this. So Google has little categories for words that are mentioned the most. At the beginning, we have circus, and we also have live music mentioned 15 times, but we also have 15 mentions of the word racist. So again, you got to be a great business. They're going to call you out on it. All right, best practices. I'm going to quickly check here. Guys, I'm assuming you're not going to behave like this, but I think it's worth noting how bad it gets out there and what an advantage you have if you know how to really handle this stuff. Okay, best practices for responding to negative reviews. Number 1, address the customer, okay? Customers want to be heard individually and addressed personally. Use their name. I literally have written these out so that you can just read them really easily and understand what you need to do. Don't forget your salutations. Avoid things like generic dear guest or dear customer. They're a person, right? If you can call them a person, call them as their name. Thank them for their review, no matter what. Bad ones and good ones. Thanks for your review. And I need you to be thinking about this as like, obviously you say thank you for a good one, Otherwise, you end up in that awkward situation where you say thank you, or when somebody says you're amazing and you just stare them in the face, right? But if they give you a negative review, you need to perceive that as an opportunity to improve your business. Okay? Examples for how to thank them. Thanks for your review. Sorry to hear you had such a frustrating experience, but I really appreciate you bringing this issue to my attention. You can cut and paste these. You can just use them like this, right? There's enough here that you could probably use them repeatedly. Thanks for bringing this to our attention. We're sorry you had a bad experience. We'll strive to do better. You're going to own it. Thank you for letting us know about this. Your feedback helps us get better. We're looking into this issue and hope to resolve it promptly and accurately. That is much better than calling somebody a moron and threatening them with a lawsuit. 3, apologize and sympathize. Saying sorry shows that you care about your customers and you're not too proud to own up to your own mistakes. Okay? Don't be afraid to apologize. Your business, and the reason people don't want to apologize is because they want to feel like they're in control. You're not in control. Your customer's in control. So, you know, I think it's worth it to be okay with this. Even if it's your fault, there were times when this is there, and there will be times when this is true. Oh, sorry, even when it's not your fault. And there will be times when it's true. Say sorry anyway. Because all you're doing right now is making them go away. You're not making the situation worse. And you're allowing your prospective customers that you really care about, the ones that you actually want, to know that you're not too big to own your mistakes. That's all. This person who's lied or made a suggestion that you made a mistake that wasn't your fault is not the customer you want. Apologize to them so that you can get the ones you do want. Besides, people don't like businesses that are too proud or too perfect to apologize. Best practice examples. We apologize that our service didn't satisfy your expectations. We're so sorry that your experience did not match your expectations. This is on us. We set a high standard for ourselves, and we're so sorry to hear this is not met in your interaction with our business. You're going to be sent this deck. You are welcome to use this stuff. On those reviews from 6 months ago, use this stuff. Modify it slightly, but you get the tone. Tim, are we okay in the chat?
Yeah, I believe we are right now.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Take responsibility. Best practices for responding to negative reviews. Responsibility. Don't make excuses. Even if what happened was an uncommon incident or an isolated case, an off day, just acknowledge their experience, right? At the same time, tell them that it's an exception, and you hold yourself to super high standards, and if they come back in, it's very unlikely that that would happen again, or promise them that it won't. And then ask them to come back in and try it, right? Remember, you're always trying to convert. Take responsibility. Examples, I'm so sorry. We're normally known for our exceptional attention to detail, and we regret that we missed the mark. Or another example, we always aim to deliver a great experience. We're gutted when we miss the mark. Thanks for taking the time to bring this to our attention. We will use the feedback to make us better and ensure this doesn't happen again. You see how amazing these sound? Most people feel pretty good when they read this. You gotta swallow your pride, apologize, and just move on. Thank you for posting a review, and we're sorry to hear that your experience was not of the quality you expected. We'd like the opportunity to investigate your feedback further. Best practice number 5, make things right. Okay, avoid cookie cutter responses that do not resolve. So remember I said you can cut and paste, but modify to the experience of the reviewer. Make sure that you address them specifically about their experience. You cannot cut and paste this stuff over and over and not actually address their concerns. All right, be as specific as you can about the customer's experience. So, I mean, it's like primary school writing, you know, like what color is the sky? And then the beginning of the answer starts with the sky is blue. So you're using the question in the answer. Just do that. If you just use primary school writing technique, you'll be fine. Communicate any changes or improvements you have made or will make as a result of their feedback. Tell them it's going to get better. Tell them what you're going to do, and then do it. If there's nothing you can do to fix what happened, take ownership and promise to make things right in the future. Examples of that: apologize on behalf of everyone at Good Grief. Please know that the situation was an exception. As you can see from all of our other reviews, we're known for taking ownership and caring deeply about our customers. Can't fix the past, we have my personal commitment. to improve the way our staff serves every single customer. Until then, please accept my sincerest apologies, right? It's an awesome way to make it right. You're just owning it, telling them you really are upset and you hope it doesn't happen again. This is the most important one for responding to negative reviews, other than don't call people morons or threaten them with lawsuits. Take it offline, okay? Take it offline. It's best for you and your customer to talk directly about the problem they had, but take it offline, meaning not on Google My Business, not on Facebook, right? Not in any business listing. Tell them to call you personally, right? Give them your phone number, give them your email, or tell them to go to your website and get the phone number and email. Do not deal with the situation on the internet. If it goes south, you are in deep, deep trouble and you will lose a significant portion of your business because they will not make it better for you if they're really angry. For this reason, brands will provide direct contact information for their customers in their review response. I would recommend doing that. Maybe it's your mobile device, so maybe don't do it, but you have to give them a methodology for reaching out to you. Don't do it and just don't deal with their problem in a public forum. All right, examples of this. We would like the opportunity to investigate your feedback further. Please contact me at my email address or call our team at here, right? We'll work with you to resolve any issues as quickly as possible. So we're sorry that your experience at my business didn't quite match your expectations. We'd love to know why so we can be better, right? You can reach us anytime at this email or phone number. Again, thanks for your feedback, right? So you can use this content. In fact, I think I have a Google Doc where you can just cut and paste from if you want. So I can share that, Tim, is that okay?
Yeah, please do. Any resources would be greatly welcomed and we'll share them with all participants.
Okay. Number 7, ask for a second chance. Don't slam the door on negative reviewers. They're not dead to you. Extend a hand, invite them to come back. Remember, we talked about customer lifetime value. If it's $1,000 or $2,000 or more or $50,000, we have clients who have customer lifetime value in the millions, right? It's worth it to invite them back, even if you have to swallow your pride. Okay, welcome them with open arms. It's over. It is water under the bridge once it's been dealt with. Okay. Not only does this create an opportunity for you to change the conversation, it establishes confidence in your ability to deliver an experience worth raving about. Remember, we want to get raving fans because raving fans tell people about your business. I'll tell you, Canopy Media does very little marketing, right? Our net promoter score is incredibly high, much higher than 8, right? Our business, not that it should be, but is built on referrals. We get a good amount of leads through SEO we did a while ago, but referrals close at a very, very high rate, right? When people get it, when they get an endorsement to work with us, they're more willing to work with us. So you want that raving fan experience. All right, here's an example asking for a second chance. Thank you for bringing this matter to our attention. I'm very sorry we failed to meet your expectations. I appreciate another chance to earn your business, right? Call me or ask for me personally next time you're at my business. Here's a great example of how to actually do this. All right, so somebody, a local guide, right? Somebody's been incentivized in a minimal way by Google to leave more reviews. No sound absorbing materials. This is for a restaurant, extremely loud. Party groups right next to people trying to dine, fish the size of a thick cell phone battery, good flatbread pesto, excellent cinnamon ice cream, but never again, right? I trust that review. Response from the owner. While it's great the ice cream and flatbread and pesto impressed you, sorry if your experience could have been better. If you have any preferences with the seating, we would have been happy to accommodate if something else had been available, but we're a tavern. We do have an upstairs available for dining that is a little better on the ear. I hope you, again, asking for business, hope you'll give us another chance so you can get the kind of excellent experience we're known for. This is a way better way to deal with a negative review. All right, I'll check the chat here. Okay, so sometimes people respond to or give a review, but they only give you a rating. And you actually want them to leave feedback. A 5-star review with no words actually looks illegitimate. A 1-star review with no words also looks illegitimate. So that's nice. But either way, you want feedback, right? So rating only reviews have no text, just a star rating. It's puzzling to know what to say to someone who leaves a 1-star review for your business or a 5-star. So when someone leaves a review without any text, it makes sense to keep your response brief and to the point. Ask the reviewer to elaborate privately about their experience and provide contact information for them to do so. Here's some examples of that you can use. I invite you to contact us so we can discuss your personal experience, whether it's good or bad. Or if it's bad, your review is super concerning, call us or email us. We can help, right? Or we're sad to hear that you have the best experience, you deserve better, reach out and we can make it right. And often that 1-star becomes a 5-star, or they elaborate in their review, which is really important. All right, best practices for responding to positive reviews. So we've dealt with negative, which is top of mind for everybody. Everybody's petrified of this kind of stuff. Now you have a methodology for dealing with it, and 67% of the time, that negative review will disappear. That's 7 in 10. 70% of your bad reviews will be gone if you do all this stuff, which I've given you cut and paste stuff to use. So rating only reviews and responding to positive reviews. So if somebody pays you a compliment in person, most natural response is say thank you. Same goes for good reviews. But more than simply being polite, the polite thing to do, responding to positive reviews is also a great way to support your marketing efforts. Okay, that's really why we're doing this. We're building buzz for the business, inspiring customer loyalty, and calling more attention to the great parts of our customer experience. Somebody says thank you. Did you notice in that really great review, she said, thanks for noting how awesome our ice cream and flatbread pesto are, right? So you want to highlight the good stuff when you can. So here's an example of that. Thanks for leaving such a wonderful review. Thrilled that you loved it. Our staff will be definitely happy to read what you wrote. We put customer experience and satisfaction as a priority. Again, affirming that those are priorities for you, and your review affirms the hard work we put in every day. So thanks for your kind words. We look forward to seeing you again. A little side note, and it's not in the deck, about punctuation and copy. In a perfect world, you should come across as a literate individual, okay? A few copy errors is okay, you know, but generally speaking, you should be trying to write with the same degree of professionalism that a newspaper would. So there is some review management software tools that are available. This was actually one thing that people had addressed that they wanted to learn. Like, is there many ways to make this easier? One of the, in terms of the easiest thing you can do is make that calendar event. And then once a week, go into your review platforms or your Google My Business listing, your Facebook, and respond to things and, do the things that we've talked about. But sometimes you have a lot to deal with if you're a big business, and there are some software tools to use that. Yext is a tool you can use. I don't recommend it, but it allows you to monitor and respond to reviews across their knowledge network. The problem is it's super proprietary, and often the things that you do disappear when you stop using Yext. So it's basically like, it coats your your business listings with all this data, and then when you stop paying for their service, all that stuff you did is gone. So I don't love Yext, but it is something you can use. Check It is awesome. It's what we use in particular because their pricing is very competitive by comparison to some of the other ones. A lot of these review management platforms can be $400 or $500 US per month. Check It is about, well, including conversion, about a third of that. And we offer a service where we use Check It to help your business generate reviews by text, by email, and a number of other ways. So I love these guys because they're Canadian. I would recommend checking them out. Podium is the American version of Check It. They're much more well-established, have a way better marketing arm, but their price point is also twice the cost of Check It. And this is about $600 US per month, per location. Tells you how much this is worth doing it though. Like if you're a car dealership, and you're doing $4 million a year in car sales, you need to have a platform like this. Review Trackers is another one, and I'll let you guys read this on your own time because I'm conscious that we're coming up to 10:30. Birdeye is also another one. I know within our marketing network, we're part of a much larger digital marketing network called We Simplify the Internet, or WSI, and in the marketing network, we use Birdeye. I love Check It Again because they're Canadian, they're out of Winnipeg, and I love to support Canadian software companies. Cision is another one. Google Alerts is super free. So what I would recommend is signing up for an alert for your business name in whatever way. So if your business is Good Grief Coffee, set an alert for Good Grief and Good Grief Coffee so that anytime somebody mentions your business on the internet, you get an email. Free, cheap, easy. This takes 5 minutes to set up. 5. Worth doing. Okay, why is this all worth it? Here's some examples. So I'm going to use Check It examples because again, it's what we use. But before Check It, this financial investment company had a 5-star rating with 7 Google reviews. And after, within a year, they had a 5-star rating still, but 79. And the actual results of this, they had a 120% increase in organic search traffic to their website, a 43% increase in traffic from Google Maps, and an overall increase of web visits of 46%. Imagine adding 50% increase in your business just like this, right? Those leads convert at the same rate. This is a dental center, again, 3.4, 131 reviews, 4.5, 544 reviews. They almost tripled their website traffic, or their organic search traffic and their map search. This is a chiropractic. Again, local businesses, great rating, 21 reviews. That's actually not bad. And then 4.6 to 174. It's a slam dunk, right? This business gets called significantly more. And Google shows them more. They show more in maps. They get more traffic to their website. Alfa Romeo Maserati's car dealership, again, 3.4-star rating with 30 reviews, 4.4 5-star with 146 reviews. You should note that some businesses really prefer to only ask people who have expressed that they had an awesome time with their business. That's fair. You don't have to send a review request to somebody who clearly hated your service or product. So again, pretty awesome. This is Mike Jackson in Collingwood. This is how they use their reputation. They have a huge sign that says they're rated 4.3 stars on Google My Business with 94 reviews. This is an awesome way to leverage your reputation. Okay, I was going to do a quick quiz, Tim, but I'm going to throw that to you. Or should we move directly to questions, given that it's 10:30?
Yeah, I think honoring people's time and what they've allocated, and that we already handled a number of questions in the session, but I think we should open it up for Q&A, and then in a couple of minutes, if we haven't had any, maybe we can, for those that have the time, we can jump in with the quiz. How does that sound?
That sounds good to me. I have a question from Faith that I think we haven't. Oh, I'm intrigued about your comment about Net Promoter Score. I'm going to back. You're welcome, by the way. I appreciate the positive feedback. Please, if you have a question, add it in the chat. I'm here. It was meant to go to 10:30, but if you have something you want answered, whether it's about reputation management or not, I'm okay with that. So Faith says, I'm intrigued about your comment about Net Promoter Score being 8+. In all my experience, 9 and 10 is a +1, 7 and 8 is AA0, and I'm sorry, I don't follow the question, so I think I'm going to pass on it. You're welcome, Samantha. It doesn't look like we have any questions so far, Tim.
Nope, and we've had a couple drop off, but I'll tell you what, why don't we jump into the quiz for those that have the time, and then we'll wrap it. That's only going to take us a couple of minutes anyway, I think, isn't it? Oh,
that's totally true, Tim. It's fun. If you got a couple of minutes, and it's going to really, it will hammer home some of the really key points. I'm just going to close this. So we're waiting for some players. We're going to start this quiz, and if you're on your phone again, it says answer fast to get more. So what is the Roman numeral for 1,000? This is just goof, right? I'm just warming you guys up. Is it V, M, or X? I don't know if anybody's up for the quiz, Tim. Oh, no, we got some. Oh, we got a couple people. Yeah, it is M. Way to go.
You know, and I'm on the quiz as well, and I don't think I had an easy option to respond to that. So let me see here on the next one.
Okay. It says reload on my phone. Okay. So the slide we're looking at is how does a consumer choose a business to buy from? They open the yellow pages. They drive around until they find what they're looking for. They search the internet, compare businesses, read reviews, and make a decision. Yeah. I want to emphasize that they read those reviews. Managing my online business reputation is not valuable and a waste of time, confusing and I don't get it, vital to the future success of my business. Yeah, I cannot emphasize this enough. I personally, you know, as a digital marketer, you make a lot of hypotheses about the direction that things are going to go. I think that you know, in the beginning, I said reputation was a really important part of the SEO algorithm. I think that is only going to become more important. If you're still around and you're thinking, hey, how can I get a leg up on my competitors? This is absolutely how to do that. Okay, I think it'll improve your organic search results. It'll improve your map results, and it'll improve the rate at which people call your business. Okay. My business's online reputation is how I'm perceived online, how I represent myself online, both how I represent myself and how I'm perceived. Yeah, these are pretty easy ones, but I just want to emphasize, yeah, it's how you represent yourself and how people perceive you, right? There's two sides to that equation. Okay, who would you rather have lunch with? Oh, everybody knows my answer because I clicked it. Michelle Obama, their mom, Angelina Jolie, and Elon Musk. Oh, Michelle Obama takes it. There's a documentary called about her book Becoming on Netflix right now. I watched it with my wife the other night. It was really good. Tim Burton didn't get any. Yeah. If I'm limited by time, two great platforms to start managing my reputation are, I just dropped them in here. And click submit. Yeah. Facebook, FB, GMB is short for Google My Business. Yelp is a great place to start, especially if you're a restaurant. I love using the Get in Line app from Yelp for Northwind, so I don't have to stand around at the front. Yeah, Google and Facebook is really the answer there, and predominantly that's what we see here. That's a great place to start. Which online reviews should I respond to? Just the negative ones, just the positive ones, or all of them? Yeah. Yeah, the answer is all of them. And the reason for that is twofold. One is when somebody talks to you, you should respond to them. that's just social. And in many ways, review management is social. But secondarily, Google in particular measures whether or not you respond and how fast you do. If you want to show on that Maps, if you want to show on Google Maps or you want to show on Google Organic, it's a great way to get started. Be faster than your competitors. What's your guilty pleasure? Oh boy. You don't have to answer this. Wine. Chocolate. Cookies. Chocolate. I put chocolate, if I'm honest. I eat it every day. So does my business partner. It's not a good idea. Oh, I'm going to go back and see if that all the answers show. Yeah. So yoga, nice. Vegemite. Okay. Somebody, I think earlier used the term gutted. I don't know if that was somewhere else, but I was wondering if there was somebody British. Beaver and Bulldog. I love that place. Their wings are my favorite, and Leaky Canoe. Also, I think they make fantastic wings. All right. In what order should I prioritize my business listings? This one's a little more complicated, but I think it's worth taking the time. So you click, this one's harder to do. Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm seeing Google My Business, Facebook Business, for sure. We're just gonna talk about Google My Business and Facebook all the time. TripAdvisor, yep. I ended up putting Yelp, but TripAdvisor definitely is worth doing, especially if you're tourism related. It's such a trustworthy resource. So thanks, guys. Definitely number 1 and 2, Google in this order too, Google then Facebook, okay? Because we're playing in Google's sandbox. Ideally, how fast should I respond to reviews? Yeah. The truth is I'm happy with within a day, and I think Google is too. But I think we're measuring time like it's a stopwatch. So if you know, when it comes to the algorithm, if you respond within 5 minutes and your competitor responds within 6, that's a win, right? All of ranking on Google is just like a horse race. You only need to be incrementally better than your competitors. So you need to think of each thing like that. Everything you do to rank digitally should be about being slightly better than your competitor, which is why some digital marketing campaigns are quite easy and some are super hard because it relates to competition more than anything else. When responding to customers, I should cut and paste a template response every time, address them by name if possible, ignore them if they're negative. Yeah. Use their name. You could, so I don't mind that somebody said cut and paste a template response every time. The every time part is the part that concerns me. I would definitely cut and paste your responses because you want to save time. You're a busy, busy owner. But here's the thing, right? You want to at least use that template to start and then modify it. Definitely use their name if you can, if they give it. But if they give you SB, don't call them out. When responding to customers, I should thank them for their review, take responsibility, take it offline if it's negative, make things right when it's needed, or all of the above. Yeah, you should do all of those things. This is so, I have to say, the volume of time it takes compared to the potential yield, revenue yield, is really, really crazy. These things can take 5 minutes and yield 5 years worth of business. All right, what's your favorite type of suite? Oh, there we go. We're almost at the end, guys. Again, I really appreciate you hanging in there. We had about, I think it was around 30 people total, and I think we're down to about 7 or 8 maybe right now.
We still have 16 on the call, but 7 or 8 are participating in the quiz.
Right on. Thanks, Tim. Yeah, chocolate, hands down. When I engage in reputation management, I should expect, here's what you get, guys, an increase in website traffic, which corresponds directly to an increase in business. And it also corresponds directly to more visibility in Google Maps. So is it all of the above or just one of those? Think of the value that this 5 minutes gets you. Taking half an hour a week, more website traffic, more, I think there's a glitch in Menti right now because I'm submitting, but I don't see even my answer. I'll press enter to show the winner. Okay, all of the above. All right. Apparently, Okay. So I made the Menti is awesome. It's really fun, but it's still in learning. Okay, this is most important question we have. NAPWHD stands for no address protocol will help decide. Name, address, phone, website, hours, description. Never apply phone widgets here, Danny. It's really hard to make a sentence out of those letters. Yeah, name, address, phone, website, hours, descriptions. I cannot emphasize you. Like, even if you do it just like this, like you make a quick, text document, you're like, Canopy Media, 60-year Ontario Street. It doesn't have to be complicated, L9, blah, 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 whatever it is, 613-968-0123. You notice there's not a 1. Consistency is the key here. It doesn't have to be complicated. That's it. Just make sure they're identical everywhere. All right, and answer fast to get more points. All right, what is it called when a bottle of champagne is opened with a sword? Go. We have 7 seconds left on this question. 3, 2, 1. Time's up.
Yeah.
All right. Sabering, not slicing. All right, ask me anything. That's where we're at. All right, before I say that, I just want to say thank you to everybody for taking the time to attend today. Tim, thank you for having me here. And thank you for the Town of the Blue Mountains for putting this on. I deeply believe in the power of reputation. I think it's the future of digital marketing, and it's really worth it to start now. And I'll pass it over to you, Tim.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks. I think you've made your case with some seriously credible information. If I wasn't sold, and if our participants weren't sold on the importance of this before the session today, I think now they really are. And what I love about working with you is that you approach things in a practical way, an actionable way. You've presented us with user-friendly tactics that, most importantly, can make a real difference in our business. So for all of that, we thank you kindly. Just to remind those that are still on the call, we will be sharing the slide deck with you and some of the other resources that Kai's kindly offered. So those will be coming out in the next couple of days. And I know we've been recording this session as well, and we'll do our best to get that up, as we have with previous ones, into our blog at enterprisecenter.ca. So, if there was a piece of information that you were looking to review and part of the conversation, which is where a lot of the value lies, then that will be available for review for our participants. So in closing, Kai, thank you again so much. Really appreciate it, and wish everybody the best in business and enhancing their reviews.
Tim, I'm just going to stay on the call and answer one question that just came in. Is that okay?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right. Thanks again, everybody, for attending. If you're sticking around, you have questions, and you want to talk, and that's totally cool. We've been getting some bad reviews during COVID. We are running with a reduced staff, and it's hard to be at our A game. And I totally can appreciate that, and I'm sorry to hear that. I definitely have a lot of clients that have been really struggling, particularly, obviously, clients with physical locations. Many of them, their revenue has gone to zero, and I deeply empathize with what that must feel like. When you're getting bad reviews during COVID, that seems like a real kick in the shins. But I would use the tactics that we've talked about. I would be honest with them and say, I'm so sorry you had that bad experience. I'd love to talk about it with you at this email or that phone number. It's not an excuse, but COVID has been very difficult for us. We are running with a reduced staff, and when COVID ends, we will be running with a full complement of staff, and you can come back and expect the experience that you're used to having at our business. So using a lot of the tactics that are in that deck, which we're going to send, and you can send that to that person, or you can even do that publicly, again, taking it offline, letting them know that this is COVID related. It's really tough right now. You're going to be back on your A game in the future. So sorry. Please call me, and maybe you can make it right. I know I went to Northwinds one day, and I was using the garage door to pick up my stuff, and somebody actually just walked up and grabbed my bag of food and walked away. And they were super apologetic. In fact, they were like, choose any beers you want. And so I did, and that's how they made it right. And I didn't even really feel like they needed to do that. I was extremely excited to be getting takeout. But they offered, and I took them up, and I grabbed a 6-pack of whatever it was, and that's how they made it right. Maybe you have that opportunity to do that as well. You can take it one step further. If you're the owner, of course, say, as the owner of the business, I'm deeply troubled by this, obviously. I would love to talk to you personally. Again, that's another way to keep and retain their business while showcasing to the world that you're amazing. It's really tough right now, and you're going to be amazing again. I hope that helps. I don't see any other questions, and it is 10:50. So again, I want to thank everybody for coming. You can always email me directly at kai@canopymedia.ca. That's KAI at our domain, which is canopymedia.ca. If you want to text me, I'm at 613-968-0123. Thanks again, guys, and have an awesome day. Looking forward to meeting you out and about in the community soon.
Thanks, Kai.